A pleasant day to each and everyone. Before we start, I would like to introduce myself. I am Sergeant Ganeshan P. Uriña, Philippine Army Reserve. I took a course of Bachelor of Elementary Education, major in General Education at PSU Santa Maria campus. I am a registered professional teacher year 2019 and also have 2 years experience in teaching at private school. My military schoolings are Advanced ROTC MS31 to 42. Classroom rules. Phone must be turned off or set in silent mode to avoid interruption during our session. Gaming is not allowed. You are instructed to pay attention, and it's better for you to jot down, for you to use it as your reviewer kasi may mga sasabihin ako or may mga adlibs ako na hindi nakalagay sa slide. When nature calls, go to the restroom. If you feel sleepy, stand or do some exercise to stay alert as you can freely sip coffee. Safety precautions. If unexpected earthquake, please do the 3 safe rules: drop, cover, and hold on. And in case of fire, immediately go to the fire exit. Rule of law. Scope. Bill of Rights. Article 3, 1987 Constitution. Human Rights, International Humanitarian Law. Writ of Habeas Corpus. Reference, Article 3, 1987 Constitution, the Law of Armed Conflict Desk Book PDF, Revised Rules of Court of the Philippines, Supreme Court Rule 102. Objectives, aware the student cadets regarding the rule of law amidst armed conflict. Literate the students cadet about the execution of due process. Enable the students to apply the principles of international humanitarian law to contemporary issues of concern to the international community. And lastly, enable to understand by the student cadets when and why to suspend writ of habeas corpus. Definition of terms. Bill of Rights may be defined as a declaration and enumeration of a person's rights and privileges, which the Constitution is designed to protect against violations by the government or by an individual or groups of individuals. Human rights are moral principles or norms that describe certain standards of human behavior. The fundamental rights of all human beings, regardless of their age, ethnic origin, location, language, religion, ethnicity, or any other status. International Humanitarian Law, alternately IHL, also referred to as the laws of armed conflict, is the law that regulates the conduct of war. Writ of habeas corpus is a law. It is a law, stating that an individual cannot be imprisoned or held in custody inside a prison cell unless she has first been brought before a court of law, which decides whether or not it is legal for the person to be kept in prison. Article 3, 1987 Constitution. So this Article 3, 1987 Constitution ay tinatawag ding Bill of Rights. So there are 3 classification of human rights: natural rights, constitutional rights, and statutory rights. Ano nga ba tong mga 3 classification na ito? First is the natural rights. Ay mga likas na karapatan o dapat mo talaga itong maranasan as an individual, such as right to live, love, have a family, have a relationship with God, and many other we need to mention. While constitutional rights are the political rights like pagboto, civil rights, social and economic rights, and rights of the accused. And lastly, yung statutory rights naman, yung mga nakokontrol at pwedeng i-abolish. Like right to sell, right against deceptive sales act, at consumer rights. May dalawang uri naman ng karapatan na nakadepende sa quality nito. Ang positive rights, right to and freedom to. At saka yung negative rights, right against and freedom against. Section 1. No person shall be deprived of life, liberty, or property without due process of law, nor shall any person be denied the equal protection of the laws. Due process. So, sa Section 1, pumapaloob ang due process of law. From the word itself, tamang proseso. And there are two types, yung tinatawag na procedural due process, wherein ang nako-condemn ay kailangang litisin at magiging inosente sa mata ng batas hanggat hindi napapatunayang ito ay nagkasala at may karapatan ang nasasakdal na manahimik at kumuha ng lawyer to defend him or her. Next is the substantive due process. This tells us that the law itself must be fair, reasonable, and just. Section 2. The right of the people to be secure in their persons, houses, papers, and effects against unreasonable searches and seizures of whatever nature and for any purpose shall be inviolable, and no search warrant or warrant of arrest shall issue except upon probable cause to be determined personally by the judge after examination under oath or affirmation of the complainant and the witnesses he may produce, and particularly describing the place to be searched and the persons or things to be seized. So, dito naman nakapaloob yung valid search and arrest warrant. Paano ba masabing valid yung isang warrant? When it was issued by the judge. Yes, that's right. Hindi police ang nag-i-issue but the judge. And the police is the one who executes. So, pag walang warrant of arrest, syempre hindi ka pwedeng arestuhin ng police. Ganon din sa search warrant because it's the right of every individual to have their own privacy. But if there's an issued search warrant, example, wala kang or akong magagawa but to show kung ano ba ang hinihingi sa search warrant. It can be yung loob ng bahay or a particular person. Section 3. Number 1. The privacy of communication and correspondence shall be inviolable except upon lawful order of the court or when public safety or order requires otherwise as prescribed by law. Number 2. Any evidence obtained in violation of these or the preceding section shall be inadmissible for any purpose in any proceeding. This section covers the following: letters, telephone or mobile phone calls, emails, and messages. So, this section, sabi ko nga, covers the privacy on the letters, telephone, or cell phone calls, emails, and messages. But the court authorized taps or wiretapping for the crimes of treason, piracy, mutiny, rebellion, conspiracy, and kidnapping. At pag sinabing wiretapping, sinusubaybayan mo yung pag-uusap ng mga tao. For example, paglalagay ng isang recording gadget, it can be audio record or video record sa isang part ng facility para mamanmanan yung galaw or pinag-uusapan ng tao. Yung isang example naman ay yung pagwa-wiretap using phone calls para matrack mo kung asan naman yung kidnapper. And this was often used to know the exact or locate the kidnappers. For instance, tinawagan ng police or the investigator yung kidnapper. Then, yung police, patatagalin niya yung conversation until matrack yung kidnapper using a particular device. Section 4. No law shall be passed, abridging the freedom of speech, of expression, or of the press, or the right of the people peaceably to assemble and petition the government for redress of grievances. Freedom of expression. Bakit ba mayroon ito sa Constitution? Of course, dahil essential din ito for searching of truth para magpatuloy ang demokrasya and of course to promote citizens' self-realization and self-determination. Pero may tinatawag din tayong prior restraint. Ano ba yung prior restraint? Wherein may restriction din ang press or media, just like what I have said sa previous subject na hindi lahat ay saklaw ng media kasi mayroong kailangan na i-confidential ang government to avoid being spied by the enemies. Section 5. No law shall be made respecting an establishment of religion or prohibiting the free exercise thereof. The free exercise and enjoyment of religious profession and worship without discrimination or preference shall forever be allowed. No religious test shall be required for the exercise of civil or political rights. So, meron tayong tinatawag na two types of clause. The non-establishment clause and free exercise clause. Yung non-establishment clause ay may tatlong prohibitions. Pag sinabing prohibition, pinagbabawal. Number 1, hindi pwedeng mag-establish ang state ng isang religion. Number 2, pagbawal na bigyang suporta ang isang relihiyon. Parang sa number 2, yung parang yung government may apple of the eye siyang religion. Ganun. And number 3, pagpapakita ng suporta sa isang reliyon from other religion. Next is the free exercise clause. Number 1, hindi maaaring pagbawalan ng state ang isang tao na pumili ng relihiyon niya, nor Okay, number 2, the state can force a person from choosing her religion. Sabi nga sa batas, the state and religion is separate or separated. Section 6, the liberty of abode and of changing the same within the limits prescribed by law shall not be impaired, except upon lawful order of the court. Neither shall the right to travel be impaired except in the interest of national security, public safety, or public health as may be provided by law. Dito naman nakapaloob ang freedom of movement with its two types, liberty of abode and liberty of travel. So, yung liberty of abode, meaning a person cannot be forced to change his or her residency. For example, si Juan de la Cruz ay taga Pangasinan. Pero nagtatrabaho siya sa Manila at matagal na siyang hindi nakakauwi ng Pangasinan. So with that, taga Manila na ba siya? Or dapat ba na Manila na ang residency niya? Of course, no. Pwede niya lang i-state na temporary address niya ito. But still, Pangasinan pa rin ang permanent address niya. So, dumedepende na lang kung mag-apply siya ng change of residency. Next is the liberty to travel. This can be impaired or disabled, but not arbitrarily. Ito yung grounds niya, national security, public safety, and public health. For example, sa public health tayo kasi very common or known na ito sa atin. So, traveling is not prohibited, but because of the COVID-19 threat ay nadi-disable yung right natin to travel, just like before na ang mga upper lang ang nakakapag-travel, pero yung mga hindi authorized lumabas or without official business hindi pinapayagang magbiyahe. But now, pag magta-travel tayo ay may kailangan pang mga requirements, just like travel authority, medical test result, tsaka yung swab test to ensure public health safety. Isama mo pa pala yung kakulangan sa access ng public transpo. Kaya mahirap na ngayon ang pag-travel. Next is Section 7. The right of the people to information on matters of public concern shall be recognized. Access to official records and to documents and papers pertaining to official acts, transactions, or decisions, as well as to government research data used as basis for policy development, shall be afforded the citizen, subject to such limitation as may be provided by law. Right to information. So, freedom of information and right of access to official records and documents. So, sa media, mayroon din yan at sa mga websites ng different government agencies. But, mayroon ding mga information na hindi nilalabas. Ika nga rin, in every rules, there is an exemption. Just like the national security matters, confidential diplomatic matters, trade secrets, and banking transactions, and yung identity of informants in criminal investigation. Pag sinabing identity of informants in criminal investigation, katulad na lang pag sa media, hindi pinapakita yung totoong itsura nung whistleblower o kaya yung witness. At pag nagsalita naman yung witness, parang iniiba nila yung bosses nito. Next, Section 8. The right of the people, including those employed in the public and private sectors, to form unions, associations, or societies for purposes not contrary to law shall not be abridged. Right of association. Ano nga ba tong association na to? Sa Section 8, dito pumapasok yung right of association. In short, para mas maintindihan natin ay ang pag-organize ng union. Yun. Union or yung English union. Or samahan na pinaglalaban ang karapatan ng mga manggagawa. For example, parang unfair na yung treatment ng isang kumpanya at hindi sila maayos na binabayaran at inaalisan sila ng mga benefits as a worker. So, doon, may mga manggagawa na bumubuo ng union para ipaglaban ang karapatan nila. Do not misunderstood yung union sa rally, okay? Kasi magkaiba silang dalawa. Section 9. Private property shall not be taken for public use without just compensation. So, may tinatawag tayong eminent domain. Ano ba to? Ibig sabihin, may karapatan yung government to take private property para gawing public use. Dito pumapasok si taking, usage, at compensation. So, sa taking, yung property or yung property nature nito ay private. But sa usage, dapat itong gawing public. So, paano maging public property ang isang private property? Dito naman pumapasok si compensation, wherein the government will compensate the owner of that particular property sa isang equal market value. For example, si Juan de la Cruz may lupa, then may fish pond at mga tanim na fruit-bearing trees sa bukid. And the government needs to build irrigation canal at masasakop nun yung lupa ni Juan de la Cruz. So, anong gagawin ng government? Of course, papasok si taking, usage, at compensation. Kukunin ng government yung lupa and it will be converted into, what do you call this? Public property. Okay, then babayaran ni government yung si Juan de la Cruz na naayon sa tamang presyo ng lupa. Section 10. No law impairing the obligation of contracts shall be passed. Dito pumapasok yung impairment of contract. Pag sinabi kasing impairment is pagbabago ng terms and conditions from the original contract. But here, in Section 10, hindi pwedeng i-impair ang isa nang nagawa na napagkasundo ang kontrata. Section 11, free access to the courts and quasi-judicial bodies and adequate legal assistance shall not be denied to any person by reason of poverty. Public Attorney's Office. Okay, so dito rin may tinatawag na PAW. Kung if you are familiar with this, yung Public Attorney's Office at mayroon ding private attorney. So, the government provides public attorney for indigents to ensure the rule of law, truth, and justice. Kasi may mga nasasakdal na mahirap or wala silang capability to hire private attorney. Because mahal yung bayad ng every session, binabayaran ang attorney. At iba pang mga or yung every session kasi binabayaran yung attorney. Tapos meron pa silang ibang binabayaran yung client aside from every session. So, yun. Section 12. Number 1. Any person under investigation for the commission of an offense shall have the right to be informed of his right to remain silent and to have competent and independent counsel, preferably of his own choice. If the person cannot afford the services of counsel, he must be provided with one. These rights cannot be waived except in writing and in the presence of the counsel. Number 2, no torture, force, violence, threat, intimidation, or any other means which vitiate the free will shall be used against him. Secret detention places, solitary, incommunicado, or other similar forms of detention are prohibited. Number 3. Any confession or admission obtained in violation of this or Section 17 hereof shall be inadmissible in evidence against him. Number 4. The law shall provide for penal and civil sanctions for violations of this section, as well as the compensation to and rehabilitation of victims of torture or similar practices and their families. So, dito yung Miranda Doctrine. Number 1, you have the right to remain silent when questioned. Number 2, anything you say or do may be used against you in a court of law. Number 3, You have the right to consult an attorney before speaking to the police and to have an attorney present during questioning now or in the future. Number 4, if you cannot afford an attorney, one will be appointed for you before any questioning if you wish. Number 5, if you decide to answer any questions now without an attorney present, you will still have the right to stop answering at any time until you talk to an attorney. Number 6, knowing and understanding your rights as I have explained them to you, are you willing to answer my questions without an attorney present? Dito sa Section 12, nakapaloob din yung rights of person under investigation. Number 1, right to remain silent. Yun nga sa Miranda Doctrine. Number 2, right to counsel. Number 3, right to be informed of such rights. Next is the prohibition on are enumerated as from the word prohibit. It means not allowed. Number 1, secret detention places. Number 2, solitary detention. Number 3, incommunicado detention places. Pag sinabing incommunicado, meaning hindi nakakausap ng tao o ng ibang tao. Section 13. All persons except those charged with offenses punishable by reclusion perpetua when evidence of guilt is strong shall before conviction be bailable by sufficient sureties or be released on recognizance as may be provided by law. The right to bail shall not be impaired even when the privilege of the writ of habeas corpus is suspended. Excessive bail shall not be required. Right to bail. Ano nga ba itong right to bail? Number 1, karapatan na ipalagay na inosente ang isang tao. Number 2 naman, bail meaning temporary release of a prisoner. Number 3, bail is not warranted or what do you call this? Hindi pwedeng ibigay ito kung ang isang offense ay punishable by reclusion perpetua or panghabang buhay na pagkakakulong. At kung yung ebidensya sa isang nasasakdal ay malakas. Section 14, number 1. No person shall be held to answer for a criminal offense without due process. Number 2. In all criminal prosecutions, the accused shall be presumed innocent until the contrary is proved, and shall enjoy the right to be heard by himself and counsel, to be informed of the nature and cause of the accusation against him, to have a speedy, impartial, and public trial, to meet the witnesses face to face, and to have compulsory process to secure the attendance of witnesses and the production of evidence in his behalf. However, after arrangement, trial may proceed, notwithstanding the absence of the accused, provided that he has been duly notified and his failure to appear is unjustifiable. Philippine Criminal Justice. Presumption of innocence prima facie. So, in Philippine criminal justice system, may tinatawag na presumption of innocence wherein no person shall be convicted unless the prosecution has proved him guilty beyond reasonable doubt. But in prima facie cases, a case appears to be true on the basis of evidence that may or may not be confirmed. Next, right to be heard includes right to be present at the trial. Number 2, right to counsel. Number 3, right to impartial judgment. Number 4, right of confrontation. And number 5, right to compulsory process to secure the attendance of witness. So, lahat nung mga right to be heard is nasa section 14. Mababasa nyo rin dito. Section 15. The privilege of the writ of habeas corpus shall not be suspended except in cases of invasion or rebellion when the public safety requires it. Writ of habeas corpus. Ano ba yung writ of habeas corpus na ito? So, itatakal natin yan mamaya. Magbibigay lang ako ng insights. So, it is granted by the Supreme Court to compel a person to be released from illegal detention or restraint. Simply to understand, ang writ of habeas corpus ay pinoprotektahan nito ang bawat mamamayan mula sa illegal na pagkaka-aresto or pagkakakulong na wala namang ipinapakitang warrant of arrest. Section 16. All persons shall have the right to a speedy disposition of their cases before all judicial, quasi-judicial, or administrative bodies. Section 17. No person shall be compelled to be a witness against himself. This includes yung right against self-incrimination. Meaning, hindi pwedeng or may karapatang hindi magsalita or sumagot sa mga katanungan against him or her which he or she for or may appear guilty or responsible for something. Section 18. Number 1. No person shall be detained solely by reason of his political beliefs and aspirations. Number 2. No involuntary servitude in any form shall exist except as a punishment for a crime whereof the party shall have been duly convicted. So, involuntary servitude exists as a punishment, as forced labor. Pero yung NSTP, ROTC, at saka yung CWTS are not grounds for involuntary servitude. Instead, these are subject to duties and responsibilities of a citizen. Section 19, number 1, excessive fines shall not be imposed, nor cruel, degrading, or inhuman punishment inflicted. Neither shall the death penalty be imposed unless, for compelling reasons involving heinous crimes, the Congress hereafter provides for it. Any death penalty already imposed shall be reduced to reclusion perpetua. Number 2, the employment of physical, psychological, or degrading punishment against any prisoner or detainee, or the use of substandard or inadequate penal facilities under subhuman conditions shall be dealt with by law. Meaning, ang kaparusahan ay kinakailangan na hindi malubha as to degrade the dignity of human beings, must not be applied arbitrarily, must not be unacceptable to contemporary society, and must not be excessive. Pag sinabing excessive, wag masyado, or yung wag masyadong grabe. Section 20. No person shall be imprisoned for debt or non-payment of a poll tax. Tanong, yung isa bang nagkakautang na hindi makakabayad ay pwedeng magbayad sa pamamagitan ng pagpapakulong? Of course, no. But if a person has committed a crime relating to non-payment of debts through bad faith, example yung estafa, yung pagkuha ng perang malaki illegally, and fraud ay doon pwede kang makulong. Section 21. No person shall be twice put in jeopardy of punishment for the same offense. If an act is punished by a law and an ordinance, conviction, or acquittal under either shall constitute a bar to another prosecution for the same act. Double jeopardy. Pag sinabing double jeopardy, meaning to be prosecuted more than once for the same offense. Section 22. No ex post facto law or bill of attainder shall be enacted. Ex post facto law is a law that retroactively changes the legal consequences or isang batas na pabalik-balik na binabago ang karapatan ng nasasakdal. Yung Bill of Attainder naman ay isang legislative act which inflicts punishment without judicial trial. Ibig sabihin, pwedeng makulong ang isang tao kahit walang judicial trial. Human rights during armed conflict. Comprehensive agreement on respect of human rights or for human rights and international humanitarian law between the government of the Republic of the Philippines and the National Democratic Front of the Philippines. Part 1, Declaration of Principles. Part 2, Basis, Scope, and Applicability. Part 3, Respect for Human Rights. Part 4, Respect for International Humanitarian Law. Part 5, Joint Monitoring Committee. Part 6, Final Provisions. Part 1, Declaration of Principles. So, dito pala sa human rights, every part ay may mga articles yan. Pero kinuha ko lang yung mga yung parang summary. So, kumuha lang ako ng tig-isang article per parts. So, dito sa part 1, Declaration of Principles, kinuha ko yung article 1. The parties are governed by the framework of holding peace, negotiations under mutually acceptable principles of national sovereignty, democracy, and social justice, and under no precondition that negates the character and purpose of peace negotiations, as stipulated in the Hague Joint Declaration, paragraph 4, and reaffirmed in the Buchanan Joint Statement number 7 of 2, and subsequent agreements. Part 2, Basis, Scope, and Applicability. Article 5. These agreements shall be applicable in all cases involving violations of human rights and the principles of international humanitarian law committed against persons, families, and groups affiliated with either party, and all civilians and persons not directly taking part in the hostilities, including persons deprived of their liberty for reasons related to the armed conflict, which shall likewise be applicable to all persons affected by the armed conflict without distinction of any kind based on sex, race, language, religion, or conviction, political or other opinion, national, ethnic, or social origin, age, economic position, property, marital status, birth, or any other similar condition or status. Part 3, Respect for Human Rights. Article 2. This agreement seeks to confront, remedy, and prevent the most serious human rights violations in terms of civil and political rights, as well as to uphold, protect, and promote the full scope of human rights and fundamental freedoms. Part 4. Respect for international humanitarian law. Article 1. In the exercise of their inherent rights, the parties to the armed conflict shall adhere to and be bound by the generally accepted principles and standards of international humanitarian law. So, itong international humanitarian law, matatalakay natin yan mamaya. Part 5. Joint Monitoring Committee. Article 1. The parties shall form a joint monitoring committee that shall monitor the implementation of this agreement. Pag sinabing joint monitoring committee, yung dalawang party, kunwari, parang sa, example na lang natin, sa NPA, and then sa government armed forces, meron silang tinatawag na joint monitoring committee para makita kung ano ba yung mga kung na-implement ba yung agreement nila sa human rights. Pero sa tingin ko, or in my opinion, parang sa other party is parang hindi nila nasusunod. Kasi nga, may mga nababalitaan ako sa news during this pandemic na may mga nagbibigay ng mga relief goods sa mga isolated places, and then bigla na lang silang ina-ambush, and that violates the human rights kasi pagbibigay naman yun ng relief goods sa mga isolated areas, pero inaatake pa rin sila ng other parties. Part 6. Final Provisions. Article 1. The parties shall continue to assume separate duties and responsibilities for upholding, protecting, and promoting human rights and the principles of international humanitarian law in accordance with their respective political principles, organizations. Next, dito naman natin itatakal yung civil rights. Right to self. So, before that, I would like to define the human rights muna. Human rights are generally defined as those rights which are inherent in our nature and without which we cannot live as human beings. So, yung human rights, yung PCHR, yung nangunguna dito sa Pilipinas. Philippine Commission on Human Rights. This is an independent constitutional office created under the 1987 Constitution of the Philippines with the primary function of investigating all forms of human rights violation. At na-involved din dito ang civil and political rights here in the Philippines. Right to self, number 1. Ibig sabihin ay may karapatan ang isang individual na ipahayag o magkaroon ng sariling katayuan or stand about political view, karapatang magtrabaho, makipagkapwa, at pagpapaunlad ng sarili. Next, right to life, liberty, and security. So, basic na yung karapatan na right to life. Ngunit, may mga bagay pa rin na nakakakitil sa buhay ng tao at humahadlang sa kalayaan at security nito. Number 1, yung death penalty. So, noon, meron death penalty ang Pilipinas, pero tinanggal na ito at ibinaba na lang sa yung perpetua. And sa ibang bansa din, may death penalty sila. Just like Saudi Arabia, may death penalty pa rin doon. And other countries. So, number 1, balik tayo. Death penalty na ini-execute dito sa Pilipinas nga. Just like the heinous crimes, ano nga ba ito? Ito yung mga kaso ng panggagahasa at pagpatay. So, dahil ngayong wala na yung death penalty, binaban na sa perpetua. Next, euthanasia. Ito naman yung pag-consent sa isang physician to end his life. What I mean, kinukonsent ng isang tao, yung isang physician, para i-end nung physician yung buhay nung client. Ganon. So, may mga mayayaman na ginagawa itong euthanasia, especially sa ibang bansa na wala ng pag-asa or yung taong wala ng pag-asa o kaya naman mayroon silang sakit or bedridden. So, to end their sufferings, mas pinipili na lang nila itong method. Number 3, abortion. Isa din itong violation sa right to life, pag-itil ng isang bata na nasa sinapupunan pa lang. Pero somewhere in Europe, if I am not mistaken, na ito ay isang legal dahil hindi pa naman daw nabubuo at lumalabas yung bata at itinuturing nila itong isang parasite sa loob ng katawan ng isang babae. And number 4, torture. Next, right of fair and public trial. From the word itself, ang isang akusado ay may karapatang malitis ng makatarungan at inosente sa mata ng batas hangga't hindi pa napatunayang nagkasala. Right of confrontation. The right of the accused to meet the witnesses face to face para naman may paglaban ng nasasakdal ang sarili niya. Right to bail is the security filed by an accused for his temporary release, except kung life or death sentence yung charge na punish sa kanya. Pero dito sa Pilipinas, kung life imprisonment na yung na-charge sa'yo, hindi ka pwedeng apply ng right to bail. Next, right to appeal one's conviction of a crime. Example, yung kaso, tapos na sa korte. For example, si Pedro, nahatulan ng murder sa korte. At si Pedro, alam naman niyang hindi siya nakapatay at mali ang pagkakahatol sa kanya. Ngayon, pwede siyang mag-apply ng Court of Appeal sa mas nakakataas na korte. Right to compensation due to miscarriage of justice. Once na ang isang tao ay naparusahan for such conviction, at napatunayan naman na sa newly discovered fact or evidence na wala itong kasalanan, ay magkakaroon siya ng compensation according to the law. Right to privacy. No one shall be subjected to unlawful interference or panghihimasok sa privacy. Pamilya, bahay, mga email, letters, or sa hindi makatarungang pag-atake sa dignidad o reputasyon ng isang tao. Right of nationality. So, may karapatan din ng isang tao na pumili ng nationality nito dahil andito tayo sa Pilipinas, syempre tayo ay Pilipino. Pero, what if yung mga Pilipinong nasa ibang bansa na nakatira na doon and do they have the right na baguhin yung nationality nila? Of course, meron. Kasi sa ibang bansa, nagpapatupad naman sila na pwedeng baguhin yung nationality. And sa ibang bansa naman, meron naman silang tinatawag na dual citizenship na kung saan yung, kunwari, Amerika, nagbibigay sila ng American citizenship sa mga Filipino na nakatira nandoon. At binibigyan nila ito ng green card. Ito yung mga benefits kasi ng mga Pilipino na lumipat na doon sa bansang yon or nakatira na sa bansang yon na maging isang American citizen. Next, and lastly, is the right to marry and found a family. From the word itself, sa culture natin, wala pang karapatan ang isang bata na mag-asawa at magtayo ng sariling pamilya. Pero sa ibang culture kasi, kahit bata pa lang, pinapag-asawa na. Pero sa right na ito, ang tinutukoy dito are yung mga nasa marriageable age. Mga marriageable age na. Next, international humanitarian law. What IHL does? Ito yung mga ginagawa ng IHL. Number 1, limit as much as possible the suffering, loss, and damage caused by armed conflict. Number 2, protect persons who do not take a direct part in the conflict, in particular, the wounded, sick, and shipwrecked. Persons deprived of their liberty, example, prisoners of war or PW. Retained personnel, internees, and detainees, and civilians. Facilitate the restoration of peace. So, kung may nagagawang IHL, mayroon din naman silang hindi nagagawa. Kasi hindi na nila control kung ano yung nangyayari during armed conflict. Ito yung dalawa. Stop people fighting each other and stop people suffering in war. So, sino ba namang tao ang pagpatigil nito, di ba? The world of IHL is divided into 3 types of people. So, sa mundo ng IHL, mayroon 3 type of people dito. Types of people dito. Number 1 is the combatants. Pag sinabing combatants kasi, ito yung mga trained na makipaglaban. Example, members of the armed forces of states involved in armed conflict. Number 2, non-combatant members of the armed forces. Pag sinabing non-combatant members of the armed forces, ito yung mga kasali naman sila sa armed forces, but they are not designed to fight in war or in battle. Just like mga medics. At saka yung mga religious personnel, mga chaplain. Yun. Chaplain. So, itong mga to, yung mga medics at religious personnel, sila lang ay mga humanitarian aid. So, sila yung mga medics, sila yung nanggagamot sa mga sugatan ng mga kasama nila, mga combatants, while yung mga religious personnel naman, sila naman yung nagdadasal nila yung mga kasama nila na nagagaw buhay na, gano'n. Nag-share sila ng mga spiritual yun, nag-share sila o kaya basta pinagdadasal nila yung mga kasama nila. Pag nag-aagaw buhay na o kaya pwede rin pag patay na, pinagdadasal nila yung mga kasama nila. Ganun. So, lastly is the civilians. Example, people who are not combatants. Pag sinabing civilian, ibig sabihin, ito yung mga naiipit sa gitna ng labanan, katulad na lang in Marawi. So, si Maote, mga ISIS members or groups, nilalabanan nila yung mga government forces. Ngayon, yung nasa gitna ng dalawang parties is the civilians. So, sino yung mas naapektuhan? Siyempre, yung mga civilians. Kasi itong mga civilians, walang kaalam-alam. Hindi nga nila alam ipagtanggol yung sarili nila. And they don't know how to defend themselves. At wala silang nagagawa. What I mean, they are very vulnerable. At minsan pa nga yung mga civilians na ito ay nagagamit as body shields. just like in Marawi na ginagawa nilang parang ginagawa nilang mga panangga yung mga civilian doon, na kung saan pag ginawa nilang panangga yung mga civilian, there are possibilities or 100 possibilities na mamamatay yung civilian na ginagawa nilang body shields, di ba? Section 7. So, dito sa International Humanitarian Law, kumuha lang ako ng parts nito para mas maintindihan natin. Parang, kinuha ko lang yung buod niya. Section 7, Treatment of Civilians and Persons, Horse Demands, and Methods of Combat. 7.1, Persons not or no longer taking part in military operations, including civilians, members of armed forces who have laid down their weapons, and persons placed hors de combat by reason of sickness, wounds, or detention, shall, in all circumstances, be treated humanely and without any adverse distinction based on race, sex, religious convictions, or any other ground. They shall be accorded full respect for their person, honor, and religious and other conviction. 7.2. The following acts against any of the persons mentioned in section 7.1 are prohibited at any time and in any place: violence to life or physical integrity, murder, as well as cruel treatment such as torture, mutilation, or any form of corporal punishment, collective punishment, reprisals, the taking of hostages, rape, enforced prostitution, any form of sexual assault and humiliation and degrading treatment, enslavement, and pillage. 7.3. Women shall be specially protected against any attack, in particular against rape, enforced prostitution, or any other form of indecent assault. 7.4. Children shall be the object of special respect and shall be protected against any form of indecent assault. So, dito, pinoprotektahan ng IHL is yung especially civilian, children, and those armed forces na sumuko na sa labanan. Ngayon, ang question dyan, yung dalawa bang party is nasusunod talaga yun, yung pag-respect ng international humanitarian law. So, people kasi, mga tao kasi, tinitignan lang yung isang party. Kunwari, sa AFP, for example, yung AFP, nire-respect naman niya yung IHL and also the human rights. Pero how about the other party? Nakikita ba ng IHL at saka human rights kung na-implement din ba yun sa kanila? Kasi the enemy, yun nga, sinabi ko nga, yung enemy, ginagawa niyang body shields yung mga civilians, and pag yung government armed force naman, sumuko siya, yung personnel sumuko, or sinabi niyang hindi na siya may paglaban, pinapatay pa rin siya. So, yun yung isang tanong. C. Humanitarian access. It is the obligation of states to ensure that affected populations have access to the assistance they require for their survival. If a state is unable to fulfill its obligation, the international community has a responsibility to ensure that humanitarian aid is provided. So, kung yung state or yung isang bansa ay hindi niya matugunan yung pangangailangan ng bansa niya, ay dito naman pumapasok si international community, na kung saan papasok si UN, siya yung gagawa ng kaparaanan para magkaroon ng humanitarian aid. Writ of habeas corpus. Revised Rules of Court of the Philippines Supreme Court Rule 102. Ibig sabihin, yung habeas corpus, meaning we, a court, or command that you have the body of the detainee brought before us. Section 1. To what habeas corpus extends, except as otherwise expressly provided by law, the writ of habeas corpus shall extend to all cases of illegal confinement or detention. Section 5. When the writ must be granted and issued. When the writ must be granted and issued, rather. A court or judge authorized to grant the writ must, when a petition therefore is presented and it appears that a writ ought to issue, grant the same forthwith, and immediately thereupon the clerk of the court shall issue the writ under the seal of the court, or in case of emergency, the judge may issue the writ under his own hand and may dispute or depute any officer or person to serve it. So, sa section 1, balik tayo sa section 1, ay isang utos ng hukuman sa authority na dalhin sa korte ang isang tao upang ipagpaliwanag kung bakit ipinipiit ito dahil isang karapatan ng bawat individual to ask writ of habeas corpus as a protection laban sa illegal o injustice na pagkakakulong. Okay. So, Philippine habeas corpus cases. Number 1, at the early years of the American rule in the Philippines, lawlessness was rampant and criminal activities were at large. Governor General James Francis Smith, with the consent of the Philippine Commission, suspended the privilege of the writ of habeas corpus in the provinces of Batangas and Cavite. Next, President Elpidio Quirino suspended the privilege of the writ of habeas corpus in some parts of Luzon in order to stifle the emergence of the Hukbalahap guerrillas, or later renamed as Hukbong Mapagpalaya ng Bayan, or HMD. So si former President Elpidio Quirino suspended the writ of habeas corpus in certain cases and in some part of Luzon to the persons who were detained and those persons that will be detained after the suspension and for committing the same crimes of sedition. Ibig sabihin ng sedition ay paghihikayat sa mga tao na hindi sumunod or wag sumunod sa gobyerno using speaking or writing, mga propaganda. Insurrection or rebellion in all crimes such as sorties and ambushes, merciless act of murder, rape, spoilage, looting, meaning pagnanakaw, taken by force, arson, ibig sabihin naman ng arson is illegal burning of property, o kaya planned destruction of facilities. Attacks against the police, constabulary detachments, and civilians. So, this was done in the 22nd day of October 1950 through Proclamation number 210 series of 1950. In 1971, after the Plaza Miranda bombing, the Marcos administration under Ferdinand Marcos suspended habeas corpus in an effort to stifle the oncoming insurgency, having blamed the Filipino Communist Party for the events of August 21. Many considered this to be a prelude to martial law. With the proclamation of 889 series of 1971 that was signed on August 21, 1971, former President Ferdinand E. Marcos suspended the writ of habeas corpus in certain cases to the persons who were detained as well as the others who will hereafter detained for the similar crimes in connection sa Plaza Miranda, bombing na nagresulta ng pagkamatay ng 9 na katao at 95 injured people during the political campaign rally of the Liberal Party. While yung Proclamation number 1081 series of 1972, ito yung sinasabi dito na prelude to martial law, ay was signed on September 21, 1972, is a proclamation of a state of martial law in the Philippines to control the conspiracy and rebellion of the Popular Communist Group, which is the New People's Army, alternately NPA, and other lawless elements such as ang Bayan, Pulang Bandila, at yung isa, ang Komunista, which publish newspaper that intends to create destructive propaganda against the government, and may need to mention militant organization that recruits high school and college students at yung mga peasants. Pag sinabi natin peasants, yung mga mahihirap, just like may mga nare-recruit din na mga magsasaka, yung mga tao na andun sa mga isolated places, yun, mga nasa bundok, mga usually na nire-recruit, and also ngayon may mga nare-recruit na rin ng mga professionals, mga college students, mga matatalino, mga lawyers, mga ganun, and which are very vulnerable and easy to indoctrinate. Kasi naman indoctrinate kasi mabilis lang pasukan ng mga katurukan. These communities ay communist party. Next is in December 2009, under Arroyo administration, habeas corpus was suspended in Maguindanao as the province was placed under martial law. This occurred in response to the Maguindanao massacre. So if you are familiar with this, ako familiar ako ito kasi grade 6 ako ito nung nangyari, and I also watched the news. Then dito, under the Proclamation number 1959 series of 2009 that was signed on December 4, 2009, proclaiming a state of martial law and suspending the privilege of the writ of habeas corpus in the province of Maguindanao, except for certain areas. So, it was because of the popular Maguindanao massacre, or also known as the Ampatuan massacre. Bakit sinabing Ampatuan massacre? Kasi sila yung mga punot dulo o mga mastermind ng massacre na ito. I know most of you ay alam ito because, yun nga, sinabi ko, I'm grade 6 back then. Noong mapanood ko rin ito sa news that was occurred on November 23, 2009. It was a tragic moment of experience sa part ng Mangudadato family, journalist association, and to the family of civilians that are being massacred. As I was remembered na walang makikitang bakas ng massacre talaga kung walang witness and findings, kasi pati mga sasakyan talagang nilagay sa hukay. As I watched ng news noon habang hinuhukay ng backhoe yung area ng mass grave, it was unimaginable terror na kinasadlakan ng mga tao. May mga ayon sa search ko, may mga babaeng journalist that was being raped before killing them. At saka pinagbabaril yung mga genital areas nila, mga buntis na pinatay. A member of Mangudadato family, 2 buntis ata yun. Then, buhay pa pero nilibing, and of course, masakit sa part ni Ismael Mangudadato na malamang pinagsasampal ng asawa niya bago pinatay. And he was in tears back then. Ano nga ba itong naging ugat ng Maguindanao Massacre? So it was because of Ismael Mangudadato's filing of certificate of candidacy that was resulted to the loss of lives of 58 people lang naman. 58 people, so napakarami. Kasi since 2001, ang Ampatuan na yung naghahari or nagro-rule sa Maguindanao at talagang yung labanan sa politika doon ay mahigpit at marahas. Next, Proclamation number 216 was the 27th proclamation of martial law and suspension of privilege of the writ of habeas corpus in the whole Mindanao, issued by Philippine President Rodrigo Roa Duterte on May 23, 2017. So, it was proclaimed by the President Duterte because of the clashes of AFP and the Islamist group. In-announce ni President Duterte ang martial law sa Mindanao during his official visit in Moscow. So, itong proclamation number 216 or itong history na ito ay natakal na rin natin dun sa AFP core values about the history of AFP. Okay, so Marawi siege resulted to the massive destruction of scores of facilities and loss of lives of civilians and government forces, but in the end, the government forces victoriously took back the Marawi from the terrorist groups, and many members, including as well the trained snipers and two high-profile leaders of Moate died. Summary. The primary reasons of creating such laws are to educate and aware every individual and factions during armed conflict. The Bill of Rights, Human Rights, International Humanitarian Law, and writ of habeas corpus are guides to the conscience of humanity to prevent tremendous or massive violence that causes great damage and tragedy among the people, especially to the vulnerable civilians such as the innocent children and women who are the main victims of violence, and to the extent of being used by the armed groups as body shields against the government forces. Thus, citizens must understand and support the government clear motives why such laws are being created and in times of imposing particular constitution. Quotations. For I give you good doctrine, forsake ye not my law. Proverbs chapter 4, verse 2. Never doubt that a small group of thoughtful, concerned citizens can change world. Indeed, it is the only thing that ever was. Margaret Mead. The safety of people shall be the highest law. Marcus Tullius Cicero. Question. Task. Your assignment. Are you in favor of regulating martial law in times of conflict? Why or why not? Essay 100 words. If you are the president of this republic, what will be your steps to exterminate or abolish terrorist group who threatens the security of the country? Essay 150 words. God bless and mabuhay.